actually have a question for the men. Myself and a friend of mine went to happy hour. And so we were sitting at the bar and there was a guy next to us who was there by himself. And we started to strike up a conversation. It was a black guy. And so he was basically trying to like school us on why black women aren't like finding their man, getting married, whatever. So his first thing was that we're aggressive. That was the first thing. Then the second thing was that most black women are like over 190 pounds. And then he was like, black women don't know how to treat a man like our like great grandmothers used to treat their men. So we were kind of just like, okay, if you want us to, be like a lady and be like our great grandmothers, then y'all have to act like our great grandfathers. But again, he wasn't trying to hear that. So then he says that even though he wants us to be like our great grandmothers, that we are supposed to evolve with the times. Meaning, since he's sitting at the bar by himself, that essentially the women should come up to him and ask him, maybe send him a drink or ask him out on a date or basically be the man in the situation. So it's just like really hard to understand. So like, okay, so I'm in Houston and we were also talking about how in Houston that it's like 1 to 6. So one man to every like 6 woman. And so I was saying to him, like, that's also an issue too, that there's just not enough good men out here. And we were specifically talking about black men for these black women. And that, we don't want to fight the other 5 women to get this one man. So he was saying basically that we should be trying to fight these other women. And the way that we fight them is trying to put ourselves at the front, meaning come up to him at the bar, send him a drink, ask him out on a date, like do all of those things to get his attention over the other women. Otherwise, he's going to go with one of those other girls. Then he's like saying like, that's the reason why black men date outside of their race, because these black women don't want to, I guess, fight the other women for their attention.
Mm-hmm. What's your take on that as a
a
black woman?
First of all, she doesn't sound like she looks. So that kind of threw me for a second.
Visuals.
Not being rude or anything. I just expected a different voice. But anyway, back to the conversation. At first, I thought what the man was saying, there was some parts that was like, but then when she finished talking, I understand what the black man is trying to say.
But she did ask the question though.
Yeah.
So she saw the dude, her and her friend, as she said, and she asked him the question. So I have to highlight that part.
Yeah. So I do think that you do have, okay, if the ratio is 1 to 5 women, 1 man to 5 women, us 5 women have to fight, compete, right, with each other.
Sorry, I have to cut because the reason I have to cut you is because I've asked women this question: are you willing to compete for the man that you say you want? Right? I'm sure I've heard it elsewhere, but I've asked that question myself. Whenever you say that word compete, women go compete for some man. Hold up a second. If it's some man, this dude can ski up in your guts. He can have you. He can have your womb, but it's some man. So whenever you say to a woman, are you willing to compete for the man that you say you want? They'll be like, please, let the other woman take him. So what dude is trying to say is that obviously other cultures are trained a bit different. So they know to compete because they know, okay, I want that top quality guy. That top quality guy can get a lot of women. I got to stand out.
Yeah.
Have you eaten yet? How can I be of service to you? Because if you look at Asian women, for example, they are raised and trained to serve. So then automatically through the gate, they're going to be winning. Whereas let's look at, if we're talking about black women, not saying all, but I don't need no man. Twerk off challenge.
Yeah. So the dynamic is very different.
You got to look at it like that.
So that is the reason why a lot of black women are losing, because we're not competing. And look, if you've got a problem or issue with this situation, you need to take it to God, because he's the one that made it like that. There's more women than men in the whole world.
But the reality is, you put Mei-Ling, Becky, Isabella, all of them in the ring. Put Shaniqua in the ring with them. Shaniqua's sitting on the sideline, where Becky and them is like, yo,
look, even if
I'm riding out for this dude.
Even if you take Becky, Mei-Ling, and all the rest of them out of it for a second, and you're just talking about black women
Do they compete,
compete for the man that they say they want, a lot of them are not or don't want to compete.
And key thing,
and that's just
thing, the man that they said they want.
Exactly. You said you
said
let's say you ask a question, what sort of man do you want? They have
Reel
their
up
checklist and say, I want XYZ in a man. So then it's like, okay, cool. Are you going to compete for that man? Compete for who?
For some
That's
man.
what the problem is. You don't want to compete for the man you said you want. That's the problem. There's lots of other women of different races that will compete for that man you said you want. This.
Modern woman's modern woman, no matter her ethnicity.
Yeah.
But what we are highlighting is, or what my guy was saying was, these are some of the problems that he faces with black women, and I think a lot of black men will agree. I will say that too. I'll say, yeah, a lot of black women can be very masculine. I don't think they're willing to compete. I think a lot of the time, not all, Becky does get the assignment, Mei-Ling gets the assignment. They're trained to serve. They don't see any man that they're with, or men in general, as some man. And I think that's where the issues are.
Yeah.
But I'm not necessarily going to meet a woman in a bar and be telling her all of this. I'm not knocking my guy.
Well, it's a conversation.
She asked the question, so yeah, we can have the conversation.
It's a conversation. So
and it's good that we have the conversation, so she can say or understand where she's going wrong.
This will actually help her if she chooses to see it that way. But conversations like that, I think a lot of the problems that women have is that they don't have fathers to show them anything. So then
males,
so then when they get to a certain age and they start dating, they don't know what questions to ask, or they struggle. So then to hear a man's point of view on certain things as to why maybe you're losing, even if it's not personal to her, but you're asking certain questions back and forth, then it's like, okay, now I understand. Oh, I was looking at this wrong, and I should be looking at it like this. So eventually it should maybe help the woman, to succeed.
So ladies, the small amount of ladies that watch our channel, male podcasts or podcasts like this can be beneficial to you. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.